Back to Coast, George Noory with David Sereda. So, David, this Washington Monument, do you think it's still emitting signals?
Absolutely. Because there's a scientist also, in the same region named Nathan Stubenfeld, who actually transmitted radio frequencies through the Earth's crust, and his invention also is around the same time period as Tesla's invention of radio. And basically what he found is that you could hammer a steel spike into the ground just like the frame of the Washington Monument, and he found there's power there. There's real energy. And because he found energy in multiple places tapping these steel spikes into the ground, he could send frequencies or messages through the Earth. So the monument, or actually any building with a steel frame in the Earth, is getting powered by the Earth frequency itself, known as the Tesla-Schumann series of frequencies. So that means it's giving off this frequency wave and forming a bubble ever since it was created, and that's why these inventions continue to appear within this bubble. And these are the transformative inventions. These aren't just little things. These are the big ones. Like, why wasn't the internet invented in Russia, for example? Why didn't the Russians invent the atomic bomb? Why didn't the Chinese? They ended up stealing it, right? Because, so what is it about America is the question I was asking myself, that all these great earth-shattering inventions happened first and not somewhere else. And I believe the monument, just like in the book of Isaiah chapter 19, and how the Egyptians put up these obelisk transmitters, it caused a transmission of a series of frequencies into people's consciousness. And it's kind of like Pythagoras called the human body a musica humana, a human musical instrument. And we are like instruments, right? If you play music,
sure,
and it's out of tune, you're not going to want to dance. But when you hear music that is really beautiful and properly, timed and tuned, you have emotions. You have feelings. You feel moods, and you dance and you move your body. So what 432 is about is, like, you go on your piano and you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So you have 7 basic notes. The black keys are your flats and sharps.
But I assume, though, David, you're saying what this does is it increases creativity.
Right, in healing. It's been proven that you're not even shifting, like an A note today, and now a lot of people are using 432 middle A, right? So again, A is that first key on the piano, or the guitar. And if it's detuned at A440, which is what we tend to use today, and you change it to 432, what people are saying is, oh my God, I like the music so much better. I have so many more incredible feelings inside of me, right? But what happens with each note, A, B, C, D, F, G, is you can go up an octave, right? That's what do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is. That's 8 octaves. So you can take A, and then an octave means you take the frequency times 2 to go up, or divided by 2 to go down, right? So A440 would go down to A220 hertz, which is a lower tone, right? Or if you go up, it would be 880. So what I did is, when I calculated the frequency that the monument would give off as an antenna, which was 442,709.351 hertz, I divided that by 10 octaves, so I came down, and I'm at 432.333, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a 432 scale tuner. And it's been putting this frequency off ever since. However, with the arrival, at the time of its inception, it was probably more powerful for the first, 50 years, because eventually we put up all these microwave towers everywhere, and they're kind of drowning out the field, right? They're putting in frequencies that we're transmitting, cell phone towers and internet that are actually much higher octaves than this, because this is a very low frequency compared to today's microwave towers, and they're causing distortion in the field. So the question is whether we'll continue to see these enormous breakthroughs, within my bubble. But all the big ones, these are the biggest ones in history. All the rest of the inventions on the planet are small stuff. They're little fine-tuning improvements. And there's more of them than I can even name. Like, for example, the laser at Bell Labs. The laser is a major earth-shattering invention. Radio is a major, and television is a major earth-shattering invention. The automobile, the birth of flight in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which is in these are the big ones, right? So I found through my years of research that frequency alters consciousness for the betterment of humanity, or even the destruction of the human mind, more than anything.
It could go either way, right?
It could go either way. In fact, the Washington Monument could even be detuned by some hacker, right, who could hit it with some really bad frequencies, which is like bad music. You remember those experiments that Masaru Emoto did with water, where
he played pleasant music and harsh music, and the water crystals looked gorgeous, or they looked discombobulated.
Exactly. So if you have nice 432 tuned music, then you're going to have nice crystals, which again, your body's made mostly of water, right? So that means that humans as a musical instrument, we like certain frequencies and we don't like certain frequencies. And maybe by using detuned frequencies on the population, you'll see more violence and you'll see more crime, right? But what also is interesting too is that the monument, if you take the monument, there's another diagram up on your site that demonstrates this, and this is its hidden code, is that if I use the monument's height, 555 feet, 5.125 inches, and I draw two circles that diameter. Now, if you look on the lawn, on the grass feature of the monument, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's two circles, they come together in their midsection, and they form what's called the Vesica Pisces, which is like an elliptical, it looks like an eye, right? And you see this on the lawn, which means somebody knows what I'm about to tell you, because the monument is taller than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. But if I make two circles whose diameter is the height of the monument, 555 feet and 5.125 inches, the Vesica Pisces is the exact finished height of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. And that means whoever built it and whoever decided on its final height knew a secret greater than Dan Brown's Law Symbol, right? Dan Brown's Law Symbol series ends in this new TV series that came out. It ends with the Washington Monument being the greatest secret holder, but he doesn't know what the secret is. So if the monument and the grass feature on the lawn, which is the Vesica Pisces, is the monument's greatest secret, that it is really the mother frequency of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, then and of course the obelisks come from Egypt, right? And then you go all the way to the Vatican. So at the Vatican, this is going to be really mind-blowing, because the Vatican's height, St. Peter's Basilica, designed by Michelangelo, who's one of the chief architects, is the same height as the Great Pyramid of Egypt is today, without its capstone. Without
the tip, right?
Without the tip. Whereas the Washington Monument's height, when you make two circles and they form the Vesica Pisces in the middle, the graphic is up on your website for people to see. The height of the Vesica Pisces is the exact height of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. But why would the Vatican make St. Peter's the height of the pyramid? Because, I mean, it's accurate to 99.98%. It's off by like a foot in a few inches. And you know what they intended to do, because in the courtyard of the Vatican is another obelisk that looks like the Washington Monument, but it's smaller. So I did the math on that one, and it turns out it's an A on the piano, 444 note transmitter. And John Lennon apparently tuned his guitar to A444 for some reason. So why is that one A44 and the monument's A432? And what does that do to human consciousness? And
could this frequency have been used to move the blocks of the pyramids?
Well, see, when you get into what's his name in Florida, Lee Skowron, right?
Lead Skelton. Edward Lead Skelton.
There's a great secret there. If you look at the top of his pyramidal poles, you'll see a box, which is where people think he had a frequency transmitter. And I measured the box's ratio. It is an Ark of the Covenant ratio. And this is where my work is going now. I have decoded what I believe is the God frequency of the Holy of Holies in the Ark of the Covenant, and I think Skowron knew it. Now, I haven't used the frequencies yet that I've decoded in the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy of Holies, but the fact that the pyramid, a lot of people don't know what I'm about to tell you. The pyramid's Queen's Chamber and King's Chamber are the exact same measurement as Moses' original Holy of Holies when it was a tabernacle, when it was a tent. So there was a 10 by 10 by 10 cubit tent, and we know in the book of Ezekiel that God uses the royal cubit, the long cubit, which is a cubit plus a hand, because that's what it says in Ezekiel. So the Queen's Chamber is the exact same measurement in the Great Pyramid as Moses' original Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was stored. Now, in the Kever Nagash, the Ethiopian Book of Kings, it says the Ark of the Covenant levitated the Israelites' luggage. Levitated their luggage. So why does Lee Skowron look at the top of the pole there? If you look at the ratio of the Ark of the Covenant is a Fibonacci 3-5 ratio, which is 1 to 1.666666, right?
Now tie this in, David, to Tesla's death ray. Was his ray based on vibration?
Oh yeah, the Tesla death ray. The theory is, okay, so when the FBI investigated Tesla's death, and I got a copy of all those declassified files, I found my boss's name in there, Magwitch. Why? Because he was from Yugoslavia, and they thought he knew something about the death rate. And when I interviewed my friend Boyd Bushman, the Lockheed Martin senior scientist for 20 years, who told me that a friend of his was a Navy doctor who treated a pilot from radiation burns who had just used Tesla death ray to shoot down the Roswell saucer. We know that according to the Tesla files, that the death ray was taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, right? And believe it or not, Wright-Patterson is inside of my bubble within the monument.
Is it still there?
Is what still there?
The death ray.
Oh, we've developed a death ray that is way beyond the original death ray. The death ray, according to Tesla, could annihilate an army of 100,000 soldiers at once.
Jeez.
So that would be one of the. I believe it is the weapon, and Boyd Bushman confirmed this in an interview with me, that we're using to shoot down these unknown UAP UFOs. And that's one of the reasons the UFOs don't get that close anymore. You don't hear stories like you used to of landings that are close.
I was just saying that too this week, David, that we don't get landing pads and all those things. We used to see scorched out, burned areas of grass and fields.
I know a professor at Santa Monica College I interviewed. I'm trying to remember his last name. His first name was David. He and his girlfriend were in Phoenix, Arizona, and his girlfriend's dad worked at the radio tower in the airport in Phoenix, and they came upon a UFO in the field. It was hovering a few feet off the ground. And I mean, this is a professor at Santa Monica College telling me this. And they got close to it. They could see it. The UFO I saw in Berkeley in 1968 was close. It was hovering above, the Berkeley campus. You don't see that much anymore.
No, you don't.
Because of the weapon that I think Tesla developed the death ray. Our military was satisfied with the development. He was murdered, even though he was 87 years old, and the death ray is taken to Wright Pat, and that's where they developed it. And when we detonated the atomic bomb at Trinity Site, New Mexico, we opened up a time dilation portal, which is why you have 3 UFO crash sites on all sides of the Trinity site. That's where we were chasing these UFOs on radar, and we shot them down. This is a very different theory than them getting struck by lightning from a lightning storm. I don't believe lightning would take them down. Absolutely, I don't believe that. And also, the last time I was on your show, we were talking about the case that I have, the photographs and the email testimony that the Space Shuttle Columbia was taken out by some kind of a weapon. We can see it getting hit by this weapon. And again, was that weapon ET or was it a demonstration? Which would be a very cruel thing.
Looks like a lightning bolt or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, but lightning has tentacles. So this thing's way too slow to be lightning. The thing that hit the Columbia, lightning is way too fast to have been this. And lightning, you can't get 3 pictures of the same lightning strike. I mean, this guy got...
You're lucky to even get one.
You're lucky to get one. I mean, this guy is pressing his shutter on a tripod in San Francisco Bay Area, and he's getting pictures of this thing coming in and chasing the Columbia. The Columbia is doing 17,500 miles an hour, and this thing incoming is peaking at 60,000 miles an hour. So lightning is somewhere around, oh my God, I don't have my notes in front of me. It's way past that. So what hit the Columbia was definitely not a lightning strike. There's no tentacles. It course corrects and turns 90 degrees when it misses the Columbia and then hits it.
David, hold on. We're going to take a quick break. At the top of the hour, we're going to come back and take phone calls with you on Coast to Coast AM.
Find out